Are you in the mood for a great blueberry pie recipe? Well, this is a wonderful recipe, and it's so good. But more facts about blueberries. Hey, did you know that blueberries are a very important source of potassium and are sodium-free? Also, they contain about 80 calories per cup. Now, they also have a lot of vitamin C, and they have the vitamin B6, so they're good for you too. Now, a little bit more about blueberry facts when it comes to storing them. You know when you go to the supermarket and you buy your blueberries in a container? What you want to do is you want to make sure that you use them all up, and just in case you don't, you know, we have a way of keeping them year-round in your freezer, and they won't clump up, and they're wonderful anytime. What you do is you go ahead and take them out of the container, place them onto a cookie sheet or a baking tray. Make sure you have an individual layer. Then you're going to put them just like this in the freezer. Let them get cold, 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 and then you'll take them and place them into a food storage bag, which is what we've done here. And they'll be nice and cold and firm, and they'll never clump, and they'll be great, and you can use them anytime. Okay, here's the ingredients that are required for this wonderful blueberry pie. The pastry has 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, freshly grated nutmeg, 1¼ cups of unsalted butter, 5 tablespoons of ice water, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. The filling has 4 cups of blueberries, 1 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of grated nutmeg, 3 tablespoons of butter, 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, 2 cups of frozen blueberries, and powdered sugar. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to start with making the pastry. I've got the flour in the bowl, and to that I'm going to add cinnamon and a little bit of freshly grated nutmeg. Basically, it's a pinch, and then salt. Now, what makes this recipe so special is that it's got the cinnamon and nutmeg flavor, and it's really good. Okay, I'm going to make sure I get all of these ingredients basically hand-sifted by just using my pastry cutter and blending. Now I'm going to take and add my butter. I've got my butter chopped up into little chunks, and the reason behind that is so it makes it easier for me to actually work the pastry cutter and the butter together. Now we're just going to go ahead and basically cut. That's what we're doing. We're cutting the butter into the dry ingredients so that we get a wonderful flaky crust, because that's what we're trying to pursue here. And we're just going to go ahead and blend, cut, blend. We're creating a crumbly mixture. That's what we're looking for, is a crumbly mixture. Yes, you can make this in your food processor if you have one at home. Just put all the dry ingredients in together, and then of course the liquid ingredients, which would consist of the ice water and the vanilla, and you want to turn it on to the point where you have a ball in the food processor, and that's really quick and it's really easy. But if you don't have one, or you just want to give your muscles a chance to work in the arms, then you can just blend the butter as I'm doing now and cutting it in. Now I'm going to take the excess and tap it off so that it makes it easier to cut through, and this is where we're going to get ready to add our ice water. Now I don't pour all of this in because I want to just add enough ice water to get it to stick. I don't want to make it so that it's too moist or too sticky. I'm also going to then add our pure vanilla extract, and I'm going to continue to work with this until you can see that the dry ingredients will begin to pull from the side, and you'll begin to notice that you're getting to the point where it's starting to basically form a ball. But we're going to continue to do that, and you can also use a fork to just incorporate all the ingredients together. Now continuing to add your ice water to make sure that everything gets all blended. Now, what I like about this recipe is that aside from the wonderful hint of the nutmeg and the cinnamon, it really is. It's an easy recipe. It tastes great. And it is one of those recipes, again, where you have so much flexibility because you can use any fruit that you love. Everything works in this crust in terms of a fruit. Now, as you can see, it's starting to get nice and moist and actually begin to pull from the side. Once that's been done, what you're going to do is then take it and separate it in half. form two discs. And what we're trying to do is to form two flat balls. Now, putting it into a disc just makes it easier for you to roll out as opposed to a big, like a baseball. So moving it into a nice flat disc allows it to roll out easier. You're going to put it in the refrigerator, let these set up as you wrap them in food storage wrap. Let them sit up until they're nice and firm and chilled. It takes about 30 minutes to an hour. Once they're nice and cold, you're going to take your first layer and you're going to roll it out. Of course, you want to put flour down so it doesn't stick, and you're going to place it into a pie plate, which is what we've done here. Now, this is known as blind baking. What we've done, and I recommend you always place your pastry in, then you want to make sure you fork the bottom of it so that you don't get air bubbles. Then, another thing you can do is you take butter and place that onto foil. Place that inside, and then you will bake it for about, you can fill it up with your, the pie weights or kidney beans for weight. You'll bake it at 350 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes, but you don't want to have it totally baked. Then you come over here and you want to roll out the second disc. Remember we had two discs? You're going to roll out the second disc, and this is going to be your lattice work. Now you want to roll it out so that it's about 1/4 of an inch in thickness, and you can use a pastry crimper, which is what we're going to be using today. And once you've had a chance to do that, we're going to roll it out, and then we're going to get ready to make the filling. The filling has our blueberries in it, okay, fresh or frozen, and to that I'm going to add sugar, cornstarch, which is the thickener, salt, and nutmeg. We're going to then take these ingredients and blend them together, and I'm going to place this, once they're all blended, onto the blueberries. Now, once that's been done, we're going to come over here and add our lemon juice and our butter. And blending these two together, we're then going to add this to the top. Now, you want to be very careful when you're working with blueberries because you don't want to overwork them so that you get just juice. That's one of the reasons why we retain actually blueberries that are still frozen so that they don't become too mushy as you're doing all the blending, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to add the remaining blueberries. These are frozen so that they stay nice and blueberry as opposed to getting just so full of juice. Now, we're going to take this and place this into the bottom of the crust, the pastry crust that we went ahead and baked and cooled. Notice that we don't have a lot of juice, which is what we were trying to achieve here. Then, you're going to come back and you're going to place, go ahead and you can make any kind of size that you'd like. You take this, you place that on top, always start in the middle, and then you can work to the ends. And today we're doing thick slices. And you're going to bake it in an oven temperature of 350 degrees for 1 hour and 10 minutes, and they'll be nice and golden. Now, you then will take it out of the oven, and let me show you when it's all said and done what it looks like. But before I show you, I want to make sure that when you do this, you always, take the sides and crimp them and remove the excess. Now let me show you what it looks like when it's done. This is what it looks like when it's done. Is this fabulous? It's got this wonderful, moist, incredible fruit. The top with this golden, it's great. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to make another blueberry recipe for you to try.